Are you tired of being weighed down? Have you fallen asleep on your health? This is your wake up call with my dad, Keith, my husband, Kyle, and me, Ashley.
Good morning, everybody. It is day 138, and this is your wake up call. And it's Friday morning, which means it is Focus Friday, where we look at an idea, quote, concept out there, and kind of discuss that and how it applies to what we're doing each and every day. So what is our thought for this Focus Friday?
Today, this is what I want us to think about. Every time you eat or drink, you are either feeding disease or fighting it. Every time you eat or drink, you are either feeding disease or fighting it.
Well, if you believe the scientific data, I guess, as far as a lot of these doctors are concerned, and some of the things that we have, I guess, watched over the years on Netflix. There's a lot of movies and stuff out there about plant-based ways of living or whatever. It appears that if you eat a lot of dairy and a lot of meat products or whatever, you're kind of feeding cancer and heart disease as you go along. So pretty much every time you feed your face, you're doing exactly that. You're either you're helping yourself out or you're not.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah. All right. And, this is something that even though I have avoided, meat for several months now, and we still have had dairy a few times. And, even that aside, just eating processed stuff full of oil and fat and sugar and, refined flour and all these preservatives and stuff, that's also just really not good for you. And
Yeah.
I've got to get back into this mindset that, I need to really focus on whole plant foods. And just because something says it's vegan does not mean that it's good for you, because Oreos have no animal products in them. But sitting there eating a pack of Oreos is not going to be good for your body. And,
Well, you kind of think of it like you just got two buckets in front of you. Which one are you gonna fill up first? I mean, essentially that's what's happening. You're making a deposit. You're adding a little bit to that bucket each and every time. So if you're choosing these things that go against your health, you're gonna fill that bucket up. And a bad thing about that is a lot of times those decisions you make that are not the best for your health, they have a tendency to stick around a lot longer. Whereas if we're making deposits to, I said it's like a bucket. It's like a bank account too. Wherever we're making an investment is wherever, where we're going to reap from. It's kind of like where you sow, that's where you'll reap. So if we're making good decisions day by day, and we're putting into that good bucket or that good bank account, we're going to see positive dividends. But if we're going to that other empty bank account, making deposits with bad stuff, we're going to reap the consequences of that too.
Right. And, you know, we have a healthcare system that wants to treat everything with a magic pill. And the problem with that is, you know, first of all, no one's wanting to get to the root of these problems, how to prevent having to take 12 pills every day. But also, these pills cause side effects that they give you more pills for. You're basically poisoning your body, you know, when you have all of these diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure and all of these things. The doctors want to put you on these pills that have side effects that might make you feel worse than you did if you weren't taking anything at all. Because everyone wants that magic fix. They, you know, if they take this pill every day, then it'll lower my blood sugar, and I can still eat whatever I want to eat. You know, I can still drink Coca-Colas because I'm going to take my pill, and everything's going to be fine. And just because, and a pill only treats symptoms. It doesn't treat what's wrong with you. And I just, there's so many people out there who are in that cycle, because that's just how we've been raised. That's how America has become. You know, that's what doctors are. You go to doctors and they give you medicine, and that's about it. We have so much more control over our destiny as far as health goes than anybody in the healthcare industry is going to tell you. These documentaries that we've mentioned before, Forks Over Knives and What the Health, if you sit down and watch either of those two, it is so eye-opening. And it gives you your control back. You have control. You have control over your choices. You have control over how you feed your body. And you can get off of that medicine that makes you feel bad in a lot of cases. You know, I watched both of my grandparents, well, all of my grandparents really. They were on that pill train. You know, they were just doing what the doctor told them to do, and took I don't know how many pills every day that I know were making them feel horrible. My grandmother was diabetic, and when she got older, she lost a lot of weight. She was very thin there towards the last 2 or 3 years of her life. Well, she got off of insulin when she'd been on it since her late 30s. And, you know, she didn't lose weight in a healthy way or anything. She just stopped eating as much. But that just goes to show you, if you're carrying less fat on your body, your insulin regulation gets back to normal in a lot of cases. So I've been bad about eating just junk here the past week or two, you know, and I've really, like I said, I've really got to remind myself every time I open my mouth and I put something in it, I am either fighting diabetes, I'm fighting heart disease, I'm fighting high blood pressure, or I'm feeding it. Because these are all things that are in my genetics that can easily be unlocked by my lifestyle choices.
Mm.
And that's another thing that we've been lied to about. We just expect, well, my mom and my dad or my grandma or whoever had diabetes, and it's just something I'm going to have to deal with because it's in my genetics. Well, something that one of those doctors said in Forks Over Knives has always stuck with me. And I don't remember if it was Esselstyn or if it was Caldwell. One of them said, your genes can be locked and they can be unlocked by your choices on what you eat and how you live your life. So I might have the genetics making me predisposed to get diabetes maybe easier than the person next to me. But I have control on whether or not I'm going to let those genes be unlocked. And I want to tell you, being as obese as I am still and have been my whole life, I was well on the road to having diabetes. The last time we went on a checkup a couple years ago, I was told I was pre-diabetic. And, I'm in my early 30s. And these are all things that I need to kick in the butt, and I need to think about this every time I cook dinner, every time I think about going to McDonald's, every time I think about eating a bag of Cheetos.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get my control back, and I'm not sitting here saying that having a treat every single once in a while is going to have a huge toll on your body. Because like we said in a podcast a few weeks ago, it matters more what you do every day than what you do every once in a while. The problem is my everyday for many, many years was junk. And I really don't want to get back into that, and I want to tighten back up and get my focus and remember, I don't have to have diabetes. I don't have to have heart disease. I don't have to have cancer. I have choices to make to prevent that.
You do have a choice in the matter.
People, think I'm crazy all the time when they figure out I've stopped eating meat and I've stopped eating dairy. But when I finally get this weight off and I have a healthier future and I don't have type 2 diabetes, it's not going to look so crazy anymore.
Well, I think too, a lot of times I sit around and contemplate what we're trying to do. And I do believe that there's a lot of folks out there that don't want the control. They don't want the responsibility. And they just hand it over to the doctor. And they want to follow what somebody else tells them to do. And they don't want to stand up and take control, take responsibility, because if they do, there has to be an understanding there that they are controlling what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they don't want the responsibility. So, if you're in that boat, good luck.
Yeah. You're right. Some people don't like to take the blame on anything. It's easier for us to say, well, my dad had diabetes, so I'm just going to have it, and that's the way it's going to be. You're right, they don't have to work for anything. They just accept their destiny, and that's the end of it. People are like that in a lot of ways, not just with their health, though.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people like to make choices and to have control over things, so. But if you're the type of person listening to us right now, I do, and you like to have control and you like to have your choices, then I really recommend watching those documentaries and doing some research. The science is there. In Forks Over Knives, Dr. Esselstyn treats a group of people. Most of them are older people who have had every heart surgery that the doctors are willing to do for blockages and, heart attacks and stuff like this. Their hearts were so bad that even the doctors said, there's nothing left we can do for you. You've had all the surgeries. I've given you all the medicine. So Dr. Esselstyn takes these people, puts them on a whole foods, plant-based diet, and several of them lived for 10 or 15 more years. And these are people who are already older people who've basically been told, your heart's so damaged, you're going to die soon. And that is amazing. And that is something I'd never heard of before I watched that. It's something I never thought about, because I was one of those people that I was like, yes, I need to lose weight, but I'll probably still be, dealing with all these health problems because that's just my genetics. Don't buy into that. Don't buy into that lie. That's just another way that the healthcare system is making money and taking advantage of you. And if you like to have control over your life, take control, because you can.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Y'all have anything else to add to this morning?
No, I think you said it. I think you hit the nail on the head. We just have to make that conscious decision to invest ourselves in the right path so that we can reap what we sow.
Right. Oh, and one more thing I do want to touch on. We talked about avoiding eating unhealthy foods like dairy and meat and processed foods. But on the other hand, there are so many healing properties in whole plant-based foods. That's where your vitamins are. That's where your nutrients are. Those are the things that are going to heal your body. And there have been many cases, like I was talking about, those people with those heart problems, their blockages were cleared and they lived for several years by diet alone. There are people out there who have healed completely their type 2 diabetes. There are people out there, who have treated their cancer and improved their cancer by diet, And I'm not a healthcare professional, and I am not sitting here saying never go back to the doctor. That is not what I'm saying at all. But just educate yourself and know you have got options, and know that I believe that God put these plants here on earth to give us nutrients and to heal our bodies and to keep us going. Why else would we have them? Why else would they even be here? I believe everything has a purpose. And we are so bad about using things as they were not intended to be used. So,
right.
Let's eat a potato the way it comes out of the ground instead of fried into a potato chip. That's just one example. Foods can heal you. Foods have the nutrients. Foods have the vitamins. Foods have what you need to heal your body. And there you go. Again, every time you eat or drink, you're either feeding disease or fighting it. Don't forget that. This has been your Friday Focus. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can find us on social media at Our Heavy House. We will be back tomorrow for our Saturday talk.